Hello, welcome back to the studio. Just wanted to get y'all's opinion real quick. I've got 23 subscribers. I appreciate it very much, all of you. I do. So I wanted your opinion real fast here. Yeah, I always do that. Forget the mirrored sign there. Can't really do anything about it right now. But anyway, um, I kind of feel like I'm letting y'all down a little bit in that I really don't put out very many videos and very often. I know I need to, more regularly schedule my videos and that kind of stuff, which indeed would help. But here's my question. Let me know in the comments of this video if y'all have any suggestions of videos you would like me to make. Uh, you know, just really any kind of video that pertains to art, obviously. Because I don't know, I'm at a loss at the moment anyway for ideas, and I figured maybe y'all could help me out with that. Uh, but yeah, suggestions. I'm trying to. I don't have a script. I don't really do the whole script thing. So, yeah, there's that. But I'm trying to figure out what kind of suggestions you could possibly offer. Maybe little painting tips, drawing tips, perhaps. Uh, One subscriber had asked a while back um, how to draw trees and stuff like that, and I have been attempting to make a satisfactory video on that topic. Most of my trees are pretty gnarly looking, and I don't really do a lot of trees with like leaves and stuff like that. So, um, but really, trees can be free flowing. You really don't have to have a reference image for them unless you're trying to draw or paint a specific tree. But honestly, they can look pretty well any way you want them to look. I prefer really gnarly looking trees that have, wavy shapes in them, and like S shapes and, curves and stuff like that, and gnarly looking branches and those kinds of things. Old dying trees, widowmaker dead trees, that kind of stuff. But as far as how to draw them, it really is more of shading the trunk, like on one side, depending on where your light is coming from. And in my video, the light's coming from my door over here, and as you can see, there's a bit of my face is in a bit of shadow. So if you're looking straight on at a tree and you have a light source that's coming, say, from your right or left, in my case it's to my right, um, your shadow will be on the left of where the light is coming from, and then you would gradate or blend that shadow out to the right side of the tree where it's basically just the color of your tree, be it gray or brown or whatever color the trunk of your tree is. And the limbs would be similar in that. Like, I can kind of sort of use my hand here for a bit of demonstration for the shadow. You can see here on the right side of my hand where it's very brightly lit, and on the underside, the palm of my hand is in shadow. My arm right here is in shadow. And you can see from this, because I do have multiple light sources, which is why both sides of my head are lit, and there's a center shadow. And that's another thing, if you do have multiple light sources, your shadow, if you've got sources coming from both sides like that, your shadow will be more in the center, and you would kind of gradate both of those out. But as you can see here, my palm like so, is in shadow, and my arm is in shadow, and because of the multiple light sources, you've got the light here and the light here. But the shadow is kind of sort of centered on my arm. You've got this bright light here on the back sides of my hand and my fingers. It's called rim lighting. That's a technical term. But you would kind of shade trees like that. But as far as drawing them or painting them, you really can draw or paint them in any way or look that you want. It isn't really dependent upon any particular thing. Trees are pretty well free form, so to speak. So, I mean, you could make a completely abstract tree if you wanted to. I mean, take for instance, forgive me. Take for instance this guy right here. My light source was, this is watercolor, 12 by 18. My light source was coming from this direction, so on this side of the tree it's much lighter, and on this side of my tree is my shadow, and I didn't really blend it all that well, but that's not absolutely necessary. The bottoms of the limbs, such as right in here, you would have some shadow on and then kind of gradate that shadow out or blend it out to a lighter portion on top of the branch. This one I wasn't really particularly worried about perfectly gradating the shadow into the light. I was more just trying to kind of capture the feel and rounded-ish shape of the trunk of a tree. But it doesn't, it really doesn't even have to be like that. You can, if you want to, because it's your creation, your piece, your art. You can totally just draw the trunk of a tree straight up and down if you want to, S-curved if you want to, dead and gnarly if you want to, leaves if you want. But you can stylize it and just put the shadow on one side, nice and bold and dark, and you can have light on the other side, nice and crisp and bright, or you can do it in color, whatever. And maybe have some variation in the line of your shadow, and you don't necessarily have to gradate it out, but you can make one part of the shadow super dark, and then maybe a strip right along here that's a lighter than this part of the shadow, and then so forth and so on until you get to the lightest part of the tree, and that will kind of give you a rounded-ish look. It's not going to be completely round, but it will be somewhat round-ish looking, and you can do that with graphite or paint or whatever. You can make it highly stylized if you want to. You don't have to, though. But you can. I when I draw trees, I really like to. Where is it? I have one that I drew on an envelope. Where did I put that one? Darn it. Where did I put that one? I just had it here moments ago. Let me see if I can't find it. Hold on, my apologies. I'll be right back with you shortly if I can find what I'm looking for. Where did I put it? I just had it. I mean, literally. Not even 2 minutes ago I had what I'm looking for. And now I can't seem to find it. Where the heck did I put that? Ah, no wonder I couldn't find it. It was right under my nose. Literally, right under my nose. Now, I don't know how well you can see this. I'll try to get it up closer to the camera here. And see, that one's a very gnarly looking tree right there. It's blue and pink, pretty much, just blue and pink. And then this guy right here, he's monochromatic. And you can see how I didn't at all gradate that shadow out. I purposefully left it nice and dark and bold like that. And in some cases, sometimes, even in nature, you will see sometimes shadows that are, there's a very hard line like that. That's pretty rare that you'll see that on trees and stuff in nature. It does happen, though. But that's not like, it really doesn't matter all that much to drawing a tree unless you're trying to capture absolute realism, and for that I really have no tips for you. I don't capture absolute realism because it doesn't interest me. I'm not saying it shouldn't interest you, though. On the flip side of this here, you can see this guy. I don't know how well you can see the color. From my viewpoint, it doesn't look like you can very well, but I did gradate that shadow out a little bit. You know, on this side here, I did kind of gradate it in, and this is just pen and ink on an envelope. I was just goofing around, and I kind of scribbled in a little bit, like right in here, to kind of get the texture of bark and that kind of stuff, and that works. But it's all really up to what you want to do. Also here I have another kind of stumpy, shrubby looking tree going on right here, and I did do a little bit of shading around the outsides of the leaf groups, the leaf shapes. And that's another thing. If you want to put leaves on your trees, you can, of course, draw in or paint in every single individual leaf. It'll take you a long time, and depending on the effect or look that you're going for, it is definitely well worth it. Or you can also just draw in like these general shapes right here, you know, and then fill in maybe one or two leaves within that shape to suggest the fullness of the shape and to suggest that there's more leaves in there. Let your eye fill in the details, so to speak. It doesn't have to be super detailed, and there doesn't really have to be a whole lot of leaves. I mean, like I said, you can draw in every single leaf of the tree along with the shapes. I would suggest, if you're going to do that, you start with kind of a, you know, especially if you're using a reference photo, just some general kind of shapes to give yourself a guideline, you know, like there's a group of leaves right here and maybe a group of leaves right here on your tree. So you just kind of get the general shape of it, and then you go back and you fill in every individual leaf within those kind of general shapes, you know. And you don't have to adhere specifically to whatever shape you created right there, but it does, you know, that's one way you can do it. So anyway, I'm rambling on about trees. I digress. My question is, as I said earlier, I'm looking for any kind of suggestions that y'all might have for me for videos that I could make. I just wanted to address the trees real quick because I haven't put out a video for that specific question that was asked. But I do appreciate the question very much. Yeah, that's basically it. I'm just looking for some suggestions. So if y'all do have any suggestions that you might, of things that you might want to see, tips that I could give you, any kind of stuff like that that has to do with and pertain with art, any, you know, in watercolor, oil, acrylic, even though I don't really use a lot of acrylic paint. I will be here in the future, though. I'm going to experiment with doing some pour painting. Some videos that I had recently watched inspired me to want to do some pour paintings. So I really want to give that a shot. But yeah, that's about all I got for you. If you like this kind of content, this really rough, unscheduled kind of stuff, just a guy putting himself out there, do me a favor, smash on that like button. Subscribe if you would like. I would really appreciate that. It does help support my channel and kind of grow it a little bit more. Hit the notification bell on the bottom of under the bottom of the video. It's on the right hand corner, right bottom corner. Yeah. So you don't miss any of my future videos. Granted, I don't put them out on a regular basis. I am trying to force myself to get better at that, bad habits and all that. But anyway, yeah. That's about it. Any suggestions you might have, I really do appreciate it. Thank you for all of the subscribers that I do currently have. I very much appreciate that. And yeah, Have a day.